Solaris is a Unix operating system originally developed by Sun Microsystems. It superseded their earlier SunOS in 1993. Oracle Solaris, as it is now known, has been owned by Oracle Corporation since Oracle's acquisition of Sun in January 2010. Solaris is known for its scalability, especially on SPARC systems, and for originating many innovative features such as DTrace, ZFS and Time Slider. Solaris supports SPARC-based and x86-based workstations and servers from Oracle and other vendors, with efforts underway to port to additional platforms. Solaris is registered as compliant with the Single Unix Specification. Solaris was historically developed as proprietary software. Subsequently, in June 2005, Sun Microsystems released most of the code base under the CDDL license, and founded the Open Solaris open source project. With Open Solaris, Sun wanted to build a developer and user community around their software. After the acquisition of Sun Microsystems in January 2010, Oracle decided to discontinue the Open Solaris distribution and the development model. Just 10 days before the internal Oracle memo announcing this decision to employees was leaked, Garrett DeMoore had announced the Illumos project, creating a fork of the Solaris kernel and launching what has since become a thriving alternative to Oracle Solaris. In August 2010, Oracle discontinued providing public updates to the source code of the Solaris kernel, effectively turning Solaris 11 into a closed-source proprietary operating system. However, through the Oracle Technology Network, industry partners can still gain access to the in-development Solaris source code. Source code for the open-source components of Solaris 11 is available for download from Oracle. History: in 1987, AT&T Corporation and Sun announced that they were collaborating on a project to merge the most popular Unix variants on the market at that time, BSD, System V, and Xenix. This became Unix System V Release 4. On September 4, 1991, Sun announced that it would replace its existing BSD-derived Unix, SunOS 4, with one based on SVR4. This was identified internally as SunOS 5, but a new marketing name was introduced at the same time, Solaris 2. Although SunOS 4.1x micro releases were retroactively named Solaris 1 by Sun, the Solaris name is used almost exclusively to refer to the SVR4-derived SunOS 5.0 and later. The justification for this new overbrand was that it encompassed not only SunOS, but also the Open Windows graphical user interface and Open Network Computing functionality. The SunOS minor version is included in the Solaris release number. For example, Solaris 2.4 incorporated SunOS 5.4. After Solaris 2.6, Sun dropped the 2 from the number, so Solaris 7 incorporates SunOS 5.7, and the latest release SunOS 5.11 forms the core of Solaris 11.2. Supported architectures: Solaris uses a common code base for the platforms it supports, SPARC and i86PC. Solaris has a reputation for being well suited to symmetric multiprocessing, supporting a large number of CPUs. It has historically been tightly integrated with Sun's SPARC hardware, with which it is marketed as a combined package. This has led to more reliable systems, but at a cost premium compared to commodity PC hardware. However, it has supported x86 systems since Solaris 2.1 and 64-bit x86 applications since Solaris 10, allowing Sun to capitalize on the availability of commodity 64-bit CPUs based on the x86-64 architecture. Sun has heavily marketed Solaris for use with both its own x64 workstations and servers based on AMD Opteron and Intel Xeon processors, as well as x86 systems manufactured by companies such as Dell, Hewlett-Packard, and IBM. As of 2009, the following vendors support Solaris for their x86 server systems: Dell, will test, certify, and optimize Solaris and Open Solaris on its rack and blade servers and offer them as one of several choices in the overall Dell software menu. IBM, also distributes Solaris and Solaris subscriptions for select x86-based IBM System X servers and Blade Center servers. Intel, Hewlett-Packard, distributes and provides software technical support for Solaris on ProLiant server and Blade systems. Fujitsu Siemens, as of July 2010, Dell and HP certify and resell Oracle Solaris, Oracle Enterprise Linux, and Oracle VM on their respective x86 platforms, and IBM stopped direct support for Solaris on x64 kit. Other platforms, Solaris 2.5.1 included support for the PowerPC platform, but the port was cancelled before the Solaris 2.6 release. In January 2006, a community of developers at Blastwave began work on a PowerPC port which they named Polaris. In October 2006, an open Solaris community project based on the Blastwave efforts and Sun Labs project Pulsar, which reintegrated the relevant parts from Solaris 2.5.1 into Open Solaris, announced its first official source code release. A port of Solaris to the Intel Itanium architecture was announced in 1997 but never brought to market. On November 28, 2007, IBM, Sun, and SunOS Associates demonstrated a preview of Open Solaris for System Z running on an IBM System Z mainframe under ZVM, called Sirius. On October 17, 2008, a prototype release of Sirius was made available, and on November 19 the same year, IBM authorized the use of Sirius on System Z IFL processors. Solaris also supports the Linux platform ABI, allowing Solaris to run native Linux binaries on x86 systems. This feature is called Solaris Containers for Linux Applications, or SCLA, based on the branded zones functionality introduced in Solaris 10.8/07. Installation and usage options. Solaris can be installed from various prepackaged software groups, ranging from a minimalistic reduced network support to a complete entire plus OEM. Installation of Solaris is not necessary for an individual to use the system. Additional software, like Apache, MySQL, etc., can be installed as well in a packaged form from Sun Freeware and OpenCSW. Solaris can be installed from physical media or a network for use on a desktop or server, or be without installing on a desktop or server. Desktop environments. Early releases of Solaris used Open Windows as the standard desktop environment. In Solaris 2.0 to 2.2, Open Windows supported both News and X applications, and provided backward compatibility for some View applications from Sun's older desktop environment. News allowed applications to be built in an object-oriented way using PostScript, a common printing language released in 1982. The X Window system originated from MIT's Project Athena in 1984 and allowed for the display of an application to be disconnected from the machine where the application was running, separated by a network connection. SUNY Euro unregistered trademark S original bundled Sun View applications suite was ported to X. Sun later dropped support for legacy Sun View applications and News with Open Windows 3.3, which shipped with Solaris 2.3, and switched to X11.5 with display PostScript support. The graphical look and feel remained based upon OpenLook. Open Windows 3.6.2 was the last release under Solaris 8. The OpenLook window manager with other OpenLook-specific applications were dropped in Solaris 9, but support libraries were still bundled, providing long-term binary backwards compatibility with existing applications. The OpenLook Virtual Window Manager can still be downloaded for Solaris from Sun Freeware and works on releases as recent as Solaris 10. Sun and other Unix vendors created an industry alliance to standardize Unix desktops. As a member of COSE, the Common Open Software Environment Initiative, Sun helped co-develop the Common Desktop Environment. CDE was an initiative to create a standard Unix desktop environment. Each vendor contributed different components. Hewlett-Packard contributed the window manager, IBM provided the file manager, and Sun provided the email and calendar facilities as well as drag-and-drop support. This new desktop environment was based upon the motif look and feel, and the old OpenLook desktop environment was considered legacy. CDE unified Unix desktops across multiple open system vendors. CDE was available as an unbundled add-on for Solaris 2.4 and 2.5, and was included in Solaris 2.6 through 10. In 2001, Sun issued a preview release of the open-source desktop environment GNOME 1.4, based on the GTK Plus toolkit, for Solaris 8. Solaris 9.8/03 introduced GNOME 2.0 as an alternative to CDE. Solaris 10 includes Sun's Java desktop system, which is based on GNOME and comes with a large set of applications, including StarOffice, Sun's Office suite. Sun describes JDS as a major component of Solaris 10. The Java desktop system is not included in Solaris 11, which instead ships with a stock version of GNOME. Likewise, CDE applications are no longer included in Solaris 11, but many libraries remain for binary backwards compatibility. The open-source desktop environments KDE and XFCE, along with numerous other window managers, also compile and run on recent versions of Solaris. Sun was investing in a new desktop environment called Project Looking Glass since 2003. The project has been inactive since late 2006. License: from 2005 to 2010, when Solaris was still being developed by Sun Microsystems, Solaris source code was released under the Common Development and Distribution license via the Open Solaris project. When Sun was acquired by Oracle in 2010, the Open Solaris project was discontinued after the board became unhappy with Oracle's stance on the project. In March 2010, the previously freely available Solaris 10 was placed under a restrictive license that limited the use, modification and redistribution of the operating system. The license allowed the user to download the operating system free of charge, through the Oracle Technology Network, and use it for a 90-day trial period. After that trial period had expired, the user would then have to purchase a support contract from Oracle to continue using the operating system. With the release of Solaris 11 in 2011, the license terms changed again. The new license allows Solaris 10 and Solaris 11 to be downloaded free of charge from the Oracle Technology Network and used without a support contract indefinitely. However, the license only expressly permits the user to use Solaris as a development platform and expressly forbids commercial and production use. There is some uncertainty over whether Solaris can be used at home for hobbyist and educational purposes. Oracle has not officially clarified its position on home use. When Solaris is used without a support contract, it can be upgraded annually to each new point release. However, a support contract is required for access to patches and updates that are released monthly. Version history. Notable features of Solaris currently include DTrace, DAWs, Service Management Facility, Solaris Containers, Solaris Multiplexed 1.0, Solaris Volume Manager, ZFS, and Solaris Trusted Extensions. Updates to Solaris versions are periodically released, such as Solaris 10.10/09. In ascending order, the following versions of Solaris have been released. A more comprehensive summary of some Solaris versions is also available. Solaris releases are also described in the Solaris 2 FAQ. Development release. The underlying Solaris code base has been under continuous development since work began in the late 1980s on what was eventually released as Solaris 2.0. Each version, such as Solaris 10, is based on a snapshot of this development code base, taken near the time of its release, which is then maintained as a derived project. Updates to that project are built and delivered several times a year until the next official release comes out. The Solaris version under development by Sun since the release of Solaris 10 in 2005 is codenamed Nevada, and is derived from what is now the Open Solaris codebase. In 2003, an addition to the Solaris development process was initiated. Under the program name Software Express for Solaris, a binary release based on the current development basis was made available for download on a monthly basis, allowing anyone to try out new features and test the quality and stability of the OS as it progressed to the release of the next official Solaris version. A later change to this program introduced a quarterly release model with support available, renamed Solaris Express Developer Edition. In 2007, Sun announced Project Indiana with several goals, including providing an open-source binary distribution of the Open Solaris project, replacing SXDE. The first release of this distribution was Open Solaris 2008.05. The Solaris Express Community Edition was intended specifically for Open Solaris developers. It was updated every 2 weeks until it was discontinued in January 2010, with a recommendation that users migrate to the Open Solaris distribution. Although the download license seen when downloading the image files indicates its use is limited to personal, educational and evaluation purposes, the license acceptance form displayed when the user actually installs from these images lists additional uses including commercial and production environments. SXCE releases terminated with build 130 and Open Solaris releases terminated with build 134 a few weeks later. The next release of Open Solaris based on build 134 was due in March 2010 but it was never fully released, though the packages were made available on the package repository. Instead, Oracle renamed the binary distribution Solaris 11 Express, changed the license terms and released build 151 as 2010.11 in November 2010. See also. References. External links, Solaris official homepage, Solaris at DMOZ, screenshots of JDS and Solaris 10, Sun Help, Sun Solaris News, references, and information, Nikolai Pskov. Solaris vs. Linux, ecosystem-based approach and framework for the comparison in large enterprise environments, Large Soft Panorama article comparing Solaris 10 and Linux 2.6, Sun Country, Solaris blog Planet Feed, Everything Solaris, Solaris information site by Michael Holf, OpenSXCE, a new fork of Solaris supporting SPARC and x86 hardware.